Welcome to the webinar. First, good afternoon, everyone. We'll begin at about 2 minutes. Here is a webinar, a monthly webinar organized by BIM&CO. So probably we organize some interesting topic all about content and information management. If you are interested about this topic, please follow me from my LinkedIn, also from BIM&CO LinkedIn. Thank you very much. We have our audience from a lot of countries: Asia, India, Singapore, Philippines, Hong Kong, Malaysia. That would be a great honor to share with you our vision, our technology, and our solution. Looking forward to we can give you more opinion about the content management today, especially for LOD. Great. So let's begin. In the same time, meantime, we'll wait together with new attendees. So welcome to the webinar today. Thank you everyone to be with me here. My name is Rui Wang, and so I'm working for BIM&CO Singapore. BIM&CO actually is a European company based in France. So we are especially a company who's developing the BIM library, and BIM content, and BIM object management solution for worldwide. So we have office in Paris, Madrid, Singapore, Shanghai, etc. So it's a great pleasure to share with you our topic, how to manage the LOD, level of development or model from one phase to another of the project. So this is a series, one of the series of webinars. So we will take webinars every month, monthly webinar. So you can follow me via my LinkedIn if you are interested by all our topic. So let's begin with our today's topic. So there's 3 points I want to share with you. So this could be will be a 30 minutes webinar. So feel free during the webinar, you can ask questions. At the end, we can have a Q&A session to share with you. I will also do online use case demo to you to show all the practice about how to management the LOD. So firstly, we'll talk about the objective about this this topic about LOD, and then I will show you our solution, how to we define and how to we manage the LOD during the different project stage or different profession even. So thirdly, I will show you a use case. Firstly, about LOD definition. So LOD normally today we are talking about LOD. It's a level of development. So there different definition about LOD. So we won't talk about level of detail about geometry, but the level of development will include the level of detail and also the level of information. So that means the level of development could be go through the whole project process, and then to define the geometry that you need, information you need, documentation you need. So if we look at the international standards about LOD, so there's no so much ready standards for LOD. If we can have a look about that from Luxembourg, from Australian, from Denmark and USA, they have done some standard or guides for defining the LOD. So the LOD in all the standards there, we from the BIM&CO point of view, we think the LOD could be talk about the classification and also the properties, the model, and also the documentation. So it's about these things we are talking about level of development. So you can see there's different definition from very different from different standards. So, but even for each project or each company, they have their own definition about LOD. So that's a little intro about LOD. What is LOD? We're talking about, it's about classification, properties, model, or even the documentation. Okay, so secondly, I want to share with you our objective about LOD. Simply with the BIM&CO experience, we are working at this topic or this technology about 4 or 6 years. So firstly, objective about LOD, it's a set of data by profession. So that means each profession that we have different information requirement or even geometry requirement. So for architect, for engineer, or construction, or even for project developer, project owner, they have different definition about the information requirement. For each profession, they will need different, even it's the same object, but they will need different geometry, they will need different properties. Even for the maintenance stage, they will need documentation to do the installation, to do the maintenance for the objects. So that's one of the objective. It's a set of data about different profession. So the second objective to define the LOD, it's a set of data by project phase. So that means, of course, maybe you are all are doing projects. So we all know from the different stage, from the concept to the design to the operation, even the maintenance, we need a different level of development of the content. So how to we can manage or during the whole project or for the same model to define the different LOD with one platform, or how we can follow the change of LOD during the project life cycle. So we are looking for maybe a solution for common data environment, etc. So let's talking about looking at the problems we may need. Firstly, we understand what's the LOD, the level of development. Then we see the two objectives. We define LOD. We need LOD. So for different profession and for different project stage. So we all know today that for existing, there's a few standards or definition about LOD. So it's the first problem all about the LOD. And secondly, all the definition, even exist definition, it's maybe represented on PDF, Excel format. So it could be very difficult or complete to deploy these information or geometry in requirement by the end user. So there's a lot of time consuming to study the document and to deploy in your project, in your model. So that's another problem we can see. Secondly, a lot of different LOD definition existing, but this definition it's very different from one project to another, and from one company to another, and from one project phase to another even. So how to set up a common environment, or we want to standardize all the requirements about information and geometry. So maybe we need a tool or a solution to deploy all these definitions. And we need to, so with BIM&CO, we are developing an online solution, a cloud-based solution. We can give a common environment to easily share and manage those LOD requirements. Okay, so let me give a few representation or introduction about our solution. So firstly, I want to share our technology, how we think about objects and level of development about model. So it's from our technology, we develop a tool named Onfly. So Onfly could be a BIM object or BIM content management platform. So use this platform, firstly, so in the very, for the concept, so we are working day by day about objects. So here I want to share with you our vision about an object. So what could be a master object we call. So use this master object, we can include the different classification, and we can also have different type of objects. So that could be contain the type, the different family model, even IFC model, even the Tekla model, ArchiCAD model for different profession. And we can also include the documents that required by different project stage or LOD. So that's the concept about object. So we create a master object that contain everything we need, all the properties, the set, tags, the type, model, document. So that's the first concept that we can understand. So that we call a master object. So certainly to deploy in the project, how we can deliver into project with a master object. So a master object could be a very complete, but of course you can enrich this master object stage by stage, project by project even. So, but when for end user, so we are developing some different plugins such as Revit plugin, Tekla plugin, Rhino plugin, etc. So use this plugin, you can easily get your model, but the different combination about the LOD information you need. So you can select the LOD, and then you can get a different type, even different from different classification. You can get the right information about properties, and then you can also get the document linked to a product, for example, all from the master object. So that means from the project level, so our vision is to deliver the right object with the right information to the right people at the right moment or stage. So that could be interesting and a shared environment about for everyone. So we have different role. You can have BIM managers to set up the definition about your LOD, and for the end users, they just select the LOD level, and then they get the right data and the right geometry into their project. So that's our vision. Then I want to share with you about how our solution looks like. Firstly, in our solution, we have a feature named property set. So use this set, we can define the LOD as tags. So you can attribute, you can set a property set by name the level development, for example, and you can give different tag for LOD 100, 200, 300, for example, as subset to attribute the different needs or the different level information or geometry or document you need for your property set LOD. So it's the first step. So you can define from the high level what is your concept. Of course, the tag is not only used for LOD, but you can use also maybe by profession, by discipline. You can define this property set is for electrician, this property set is for architect. So when the right person use the right property set, we can get the right data So for them, so that's all up to you. So today we are showing you an example about LOD because we are talking about LOD, of course. So secondly, from the high level concept, we have the high definition about LOD or property set. Then we can also offer you a dictionary about these properties, and then you can attribute the different LOD or tag for your each property. Even for example here from Onfly, you can have a list of properties for your company or for your project. It's a common language. It's a unique dictionary. And then you can attribute by tag for each property. For example, this property is used for LOD 100, 200, 300, 400 for all the level development. But this property for maintenance, for example, is only used for LOD 500. So you can tag all these properties as your definition about LOD. Okay, so now next, I think another important point is the classification. So that means from your organization about your model, you need to define maybe you are using Omni class, you are using Revit category, or for your company, you may use different or your personalized classification. So with Onfly, we can give you access to create your own classification to tell different level. So here is an example for a classification of execution phase. So even you can create your project classification, your company classification, even for different stage, you can create different classification to organize or to structure your object. But here I want to mention is to for each level of the class, you can define the different properties that link or integrate in your class. For example, at the very beginning for the visual level, the principal class, you may define 1 or 2, 3 properties or about the different dimension or about naming, etc. You can define some mandatory properties and link to each different class. So then you can use Onfly to define or to attribute the different LOD linked to your property. Okay, so if you already done this before in the dictionary, it could be easy. So that means we can link to this classification by properties and also by LOD requirement. Okay, so for different level, for the detail level of the class, you may have the LOD 300 or 500 for your class or for your properties. So that means once your object classified by in this class, then you can find the right information. So of course, there's different use case about this classification and definition about LOD. You can use it at the very beginning level for your information requirement template, for example. So each object classified by this classification, they will automatically get the right information of your LOD requirement. Okay, so it could be used by business, by project developer, and also we have clients for construction company. Okay, so the classification could be very dynamic tool to link to your level of development about information. And then the level of development not only about information, of course, it could be also about geometry. So with Onfly, we can attribute also the LOD to your model. So for example, this is the interface about one object in Onfly. So from the model option. So you can find there's 3 models linked to the same object, but you can attribute them. This model is LOD 400, another is 200. So you can also add the tag by this the LOD definition. So this means you can easily filter from the very beginning the library, filter your required LOD with the right model and also with the right information. Okay, so of course you can link with different software format. So for the very beginning, you may need a LOD 100 model done by ArchiCAD or SketchUp, but you can also link SketchUp model, upload your SketchUp model and define this LOD 100. Then you, from the next project or another person, they want to get the LOD 100 model from the SketchUp file format, they can select LOD 100, they can get the right SketchUp format. I will show you later on live about how we can manipulate this feature. Next step is level of development. It's also about document. For example, if you are doing you want to do the maintenance, you need to link some document or even some manufacturer product information or product website into your object. So that possibility on Onfly, you can link or you can upload an existing PDF, Excel to explain your object with a document. Here is an example. We can set a URL. Here it's a French manufacturer. So we link this product website for my object. So this object name this, and then we can attribute also in the LOD 400, LOD 500. So in this level LOD, I can find this document. So if user wants a LOD 2 or 300, they won't find this document because there's maybe no manufacturer information yet in that level. So that's how we can link a document to the different LOD. So from the overview about what is the library looks like. So here is an example about the main interface about Onfly. So here's an interface about all your objects. So we can centralize all your objects in the one interface. Sorry. In one interface, and then I want to mention it here. So you can search by LOD, and that means if you want to search by LOD 200, all the objects with LOD 200 model will automatically filter. So you can easily get the right object immediately. So you can even visualize a 3D model before you download it. Okay, I can show you later. It's about feature search. Of course, there's another features I will show you later. So this is search by LOD. Finally, I want to show the third part is about use case, how we can help in a real use case. Here's an example about a chair. So maybe you all familiar about this schema. So that is seeing the LOD level of development is including the level of geometry and level of information. So we have 5 level LOD. So from the very beginning, maybe from the concept level, I just have an idea to have a chair. So, but this chair, I don't know anything about just a name of a chair. So I can have the very basic information, and then I have maybe there's not maybe a model, but just a classification that from my here's an example with BIM&CO classification. we class this LOD 100 by chair class. And then I have a tag LOD 100. But during the project process, the object will evaluate. So that means from the LOD 200, I'll need from maybe the design level, I'll need the detail dimension or the overall dimension. And then I will have maybe a model to looks like a chair, or even for the LOD 300, 400, 500, you will enrich and detail the classification you need. For example, for the LOD 500, you will need maybe a IFC classification. You will need also the classification for your maintenance. So it's here the Kate Beam exploit. It's could be a maintenance classification. Then for the last level LOD, you will have the even the manufacturer information. What's the type, the model or the manufacturer, the exact the exact dimension about this product, and even the maintenance information about this product. So that's how evaluate the LOD from 100 to 500, not only about geometry, but also about documents and also information. So here I want to later show you how with Onfly, we can set up this kind of LOD management. So here's an example for LOD 200 with this chair. So you can see this is representation card in Onfly by this object. So we have the object name and also the three classification classify, that's Omni class, Revit category, and the BIM&CO classification. The creation date, etc. And then here you can see when you from the property set, when you select LOD 200, you will get the information filter, and also you will get a 3D model linked to LOD 200 because you have done this in the very beginning at the object creation stage. Okay, so and you can see there's no document in this level because I know only this office chair. Okay, for the LOD 300, I already know, okay, I need an office chair with armrest. Okay, then I also have some, maybe I can add a new classification and also another model for this office chair about armrest. And still, there's no documentation because there's no need about this step. So next step about LOD 500, for example, here I can see I can filter the manufacturer type already with the product name and also with all detail about this information. Okay, all the different LOD is linked to the same object. So with LOD selection, you can filter the different information and model documentation. Here you can see that one document linked to the LOD 500, and then you can see the dimension will be more detailed, and you can have a manufacturer product link, you can have the maintenance data. So that's how Onfly manage this kind of LOD. Okay, you can also have the Omni class classification, etc. Now I will show you on live how it could be looks like on Onfly. So just before I show you, I'd like to maybe okay, let's do the poll later. Here you can see my screen. It's Onfly library. So it's a private library, of course. So you can define this private. Maybe it's a project library can share to all the stakeholder, and maybe it's a central library for your company, but maybe it's a library, common library for your ecosystem. Even you can invite some suppliers to enrich your library by their product information. Okay, so just for instance, here it's the chair that I want to show you, and you can do the end user can do a filter, a search So you can filter by different classification. So Onfly, we offer already some international standard classification like Uniclass, Uniforma, Omni class, Master Forma, etc. Even Revit category. So if you want to find an object from BIM&CO class, for example, for furniture, I just click the furniture class, then there's only 2 objects appear. So that means only 2 objects in this class. And then, of course, you can search by properties. By property. You can search by software format. You can search by manufacturer name, and you can search by LOD. So if I want to get a LOD 400 object, so that only this object in this class, we can have the LOD 400 model. Okay, so let me show more about this object, the definition about LOD. For example, here you can see from properties variance, you can see all the detailed properties about this object. But you can see also there are different type. From the very beginning, I have office chair, maybe a link only to LOD 200. Okay, for this detailed type, I can have all the detailed information. For this office chair, I can have another data. Okay, so this data is not detailed, then no mass, no manufacturer, product link, etc. But for the product type, you can have all this information, even the maintenance. It's the same way we define the LOD. So from the property set, you can say I want a LOD 500 model. So they will filter by all the LOD 400, 500 information. If I want a LOD 100, for example, so the properties LOD 100 will be filtered only by 2 principal elements. So it's the reference and also the classification, because we don't have any model for this LOD. Okay, you want to LOD 300, then you can find there's already some detailed information. Okay, so that's used like this. Of course, you can have here, just as I mentioned, if you select LOD 300, you can have a LOD 300 model. Okay, so if you select the LOD 400, then you can have LOD 400 family. So, and then you can also visualize this family online before you download it. Okay, that's a 3D viewer linked. And then for this level, LOD 400, for example, 500, they have a document about this object. So the document could be a PDF integrate, or could be a URL, could be a link. So you can access directly to the manufacturer brochure or installation guide, etc. It's up to you to define this. Okay, there's also a QR code you can use maybe for maintenance. I mean, you are looking for this object, you can scan this QR code, you can find all the detail about this this object. Okay, that's how the main interface in the cloud. So here I want to show you the last point about for end user, how we can use or deploy this LOD. So there's a BIM&CO plugin you can mention. From this plugin, you can have a display plugin, a display platform. So here you can have the same interface about the web application. So this is a plugin. Then you can do the filter. You can do also selection about your object. Here I said I want the LOD 500. Then I can select the 500. I can get this model. And I can also from the plugin to visualize this model. Okay, that's what I want. Then for the LOD 500, I can download directly this object with LOD 500 information and model. So I have a smart download. That means here you can have a step to pre-select all the information requirement, all the property requirement by the LOD 500. Okay, so you can see that's even the maintenance properties it's selected. So I go next step. You can select the different type even. So for your maintenance stage, you select only the type for your manufacturer, from your manufacturer, for example. Then you can download. And then that all the this model with the right information and document link URL, you can insert into your project. Okay, so you can see we have only one type for this object, but we have all the information about this manufacturer of object, the detailed dimension, and also the URL link about manufacturer, even the maintenance information. Okay, that's how it works from the plugin level. Yeah, that could be all about this today's topic about LOD. Of course, if you want to know more, I can show you more about property set, how we do the property set. Before this, I'd like to launch a poll to see your opinion about today's webinar, to try to improve our next webinar. And also, if you want to reach out closely with us for the coming days, okay, please vote before I give maybe Q&A questions. You can also, in the meantime, ask questions. We can try to answer. That's okay. There's one question. Does it mean that I can develop a LOD definition in one project and then export it to an open format and modify, then use it into the next project? The answer is yes and no. The yes is yes, you can capitalize your objects or LOD definition from one project to another in the platform. So that could be a standard platform that you can define every LOD definition, but you cannot export or transfer the format by Onfly. So, but we can do, what we can do is to do the filter. So you define the LOD, we can do the filter by your definition of your LOD. The filter for properties, filter for software, for model format. Okay, so that means we cannot export a family to a IFC format. We cannot export a Revit format to an ArchiCAD format. But you can prepare this different format and enrich your library. You can reuse it for the next project. Okay. There's another question from where does Revit family database save the component Onfly database? Okay, so that's a great question. Good question. So firstly, Onfly could be a private library, but everything it's stored online. That means in the Onfly server. So we are using probably Amazon cloud and with a lot of backup. Of course, we can provide offline opinion that you can storage everything or backup all your families, even data in your own local server. So, but use a cloud-based application, you can do more than a local server or offline version. You can link to your supplier. You can ask for new objects, and your supplier can reply you with a free account to enrich your library. Okay, so here is an example that you can have here France Air, like my manufacturer object. So from this manufacturer object, I can maybe can have a different LOD format, or even for other manufacturer object, they also create different format for this object. So that's what we call that a master object. It could be the complete information and model in one object, but with different LOD definition, you can filter easily the information you need. Its Onfly plugin is applicable for ArchiCAD. Yes, today we have 4 plugins. Revit, Tekla, ArchiCAD, SketchUp. So you can use different plugins and to manage or share your library. But the interesting thing is for an administrator. So if you'd like, we can set up a very detailed meeting to share with you how other features works, how we can define the user role, how we can define the supply chain, how we can manage the classification like this one. So how we can do the property set, like level of development. It's one use case that you can attribute for different property by different tag. Okay, so there's also a lot of interesting things about, for example, you can create a common workflow about content request. Then you can standardize your information requirement internally for your team. Okay, I will terminate the poll in few seconds, please. You can feel free to give me an answer about today's webinar. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, what I'm gonna show you. Yeah, there's a lot of so about Onfly. It's not only a plugin or a tool for families, but it could be also a common database to standardize all your properties, all your data requirement in the platform. Okay, so we have another feature. Maybe we can do a next webinar later to share with you how we can harmonize the different results about your family. Maybe you have families from your outsourcing company or from your stakeholder, but how to harmonize their database into your model or into your database. So we can create a naming convention to harmonize the different standard. And also it could be used for you can delivery or you can transfer your standard between your library to your different project. For example, you have project A, project B, they have different definition, a different standard about information requirement. So you can set up all these requirements using a naming convention in Onfly, and we can do an automatic translation into your library, dictionary, and to your project. So when your end user using Revit plugin, they can get automatically the project standard. Okay. So yeah, and that's 40 minutes. We have pace. So yeah, feel free if you want to know more about the platform. We can set up already a demo or a short discovery meeting because the requirement is quite different between different company or different user. So we'd like to share with you one by one. So instead of do a demo online, that's the requirement. Okay, so if you'd like to reach out to me please you can contact me from LinkedIn, or later we can write you via email to set up a discovery meeting. Yeah, the other requirement. Yeah, we can talk about the package and the strategy or business model of Onfly. Actually, it's a SaaS application, so you can pay by user and by year. Okay, so we will create a special private space for you. For example, project A or company A with different URL. So only you with also you invite your employee or your partner to access this library. We can also give you more than a tool about consulting, how you can define your dictionary. We have also a team about data expert and also experienced Revit or Autodesk solution customer success manager. So we can help you to deploy quickly this environment. Okay. So thank you for your poll. I will end this poll, and then I will show you also, you can, if you want to replay about this webinar, later we will also send you a link about this reply. Yeah, about a trial version, or about the price, about a demo meeting, we can talk about one by one. Okay, it's possible. Yeah. So thank you very much. It could be the end. There's no more questions anymore. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time. Have a nice day. Stay safe, everyone. I say goodbye. It's the end about this webinar. Bye-bye.